Let's try some more examples here from page 363. Let's look at number 5. Here it says, use the properties of exponents to rewrite each expression. 2 to the x cubed times 3 to the x squared to the fourth. Now, one thing that's important is that everything has to be multiplied here. And it turns out that everything is multiplied in here because an exponent is just a form of multiplication. The first thing I'm going to do is, since both of these are cubed, I'm going to write this as 2 cubed times x cubed. Both of these are to the fourth, so that's times 3 to the fourth times x squared to the fourth. So each term gets that fourth power. Once again, I'm going to use that property of commuting these two. So this is 2 cubed times 3 to the fourth, x cubed times x squared to the fourth. Now here I know 2 cubed is 8. I know 3 to the fourth is 81. I'm going to leave x cubed alone here. When I raise a power to a power, we multiply these. That's x to the 8th. Now 8 times 81 is 648. And now here, same base, and I'm multiplying, I add the exponents. That's x to the 11th, just like that. I think that was 5a, huh? Let's try 5c as an example. Here is 2x to the 5th is divided by negative 8x cubed. So one thing I'm going to do is give that fifth power to each term because it's multiplied in here. That's key. 2 to the 5th times x to the 5th, all over negative 8 times x cubed. Now I happen to know that 2 to the 5th, well, I don't really know. 2 to the power of 5, 32. I was going to say that, but sometimes you just, use that calculator if it helps. Over negative 8 x cubed. Now, because these are multiplied, I know that I can take this part and this part. Multiplication is another form of division. 8 divides into 32 4 times, but it's a negative, so it's negative, positive divided by negative. Now, when I divide and the bases are the same, I subtract the exponents. This is 2x to the power of 2. Simplifies out like that. Let's look at D real quick here. 4x squared y to the 5th, all multiplied, it's key, times negative 3x y cubed all to the power of 3. So this 3 goes to each term. So here I'm going to say negative 3 gets cubed, the x gets cubed, the y cubed gets cubed. Because it's multiplication, I can multiply each one that time. This is using the properties. 4x squared times y, this is going to be negative 27, negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. This is x cubed. And here when I raise a power to a power, I multiply these. So this is y to the 9th. Now what I want to do is just multiply my same things together because this is all multiplication. So I'm going to use this commutative property here. And I can multiply the 4 times the negative 27, which is negative 108. I can multiply the x squared times the x cubed. When I'm multiplying, I add the exponents. So this is x to the 5th. And then the same with the y's. I'm multiplying so I can add the exponents. That's y to the 11th. Boom. Just like that. Let's look over on page 370 and try a few from there. Page 370. Let's look at problem number 5. Here it says 1 has 6 to the negative 3. And he says it's the same as negative 6 to the positive 3. Ooh, 1, I don't know about that one. Write an explanation on how we should interpret this. Remember, the negative exponent What that does is I can write this as 6 to the negative 3 divided by 1, because anything can be divided by 1. This negative exponent moves it to the reciprocal position. Right now it's on top. What's going to happen is this 6 to the negative 3 goes to the denominator and becomes positive. So this is 1 over 6 to the third. Which would be 1 over 216. So that negative exponent means that we reciprocate it. It has nothing to do with the power. What this is this is 6 cubed being, now we want the opposite of whatever 6 cubed is. Now 6 times 6 times 6 we know is, this is going to be just negative 216. So that 6 gets cubed and then we take its negative, doing the power before the negative. So here, these two are the same, and here, these two are the same. So one, you've got to be careful. When the exponent is negative, it has nothing to do with the negative in front of the entire problem. The exponent is negative. What we do is we reciprocate. We put it to its reciprocal position. Here it's in the numerator, so it goes in the denominator and becomes positive exponent, just the exponent 1. Let's look at 6 as some example problems here. So here we have 6a is 2x cubed is getting squared 3x to the 4th. All right, we just did several problems like this. The 2 goes to each term, so that's 2 squared. X cubed gets squared times 3 times x to the 4th. They're all being multiplied. Remember, parentheses is just a form of multiplication, so we don't have to write that. Raise a power to a power. Well, 2 squared is 4. We multiply times 6, 3, x to the 4th, and we can write this as 4 times 3 is 12. Multiplying, when we have the same base, we can take that and add the exponents. Boom, like that. B, here's working with something a little bit new here, to the 0 power. I like this because that's going to make it super easy. One of my favorite numbers, tied for second place. Anything to the 0 power is the number 1. Punch it in your calculator. Anything to 0 power is number 1 times 2x squared. So that just gives us 1 times 2x squared is just 2x squared, like that. Let's look at D. Here we have 2x to the 4th divided by 3x. Here's the key. It's to the negative exponent, negative 3. Now remember, what this negative does, it just reciprocates it. So I'm going to flip this up. So I'm going to make this a positive 3. The exponent becomes positive. That's the only thing that changes. But now, because I made it positive, I have to do the reciprocal. So the 3x is in the denominator. It now goes up in the numerator. The 2x to the 4th goes to the denominator. And then we can simplify from there. I would work inside the parentheses first here. Here's 3 halves. And this x and that x will cancel so that we have an x cubed in the denominator. Because that's an x up top, x to the 4th, we subtract and it goes in the denominator. And that's cubed. And then here, we can do it several ways. The cube goes to each term. I'm running out of paper here. Let me just do it like this. Now here it's 3 cubed. 2 gets the cube. X cubed gets the cubed. So here we get 3 cubed is 27 over 2 cubed is 8. Raising a power to a power, we multiply, so that's to the 9. Got a little messy at the end there. Be careful with that.